Hi everyone, welcome to Umar Builds, a channel where I share my thoughts and ideas about tech and the modern world and share insights about the stuff I build and experiment with. This video is about OpenAI's Codex, in particular, the Codex desktop app. Codex is OpenAI's agentic coding system. It is built to write, edit, review, debug, and do other things with code, including shipping it. Now, I'm a web designer and getting into iOS app development with no advanced knowledge of Swift. So this tool is going to be perfect for me. And if you're watching this video and you want to get into vibe coding, then this tool is going to be perfect for you too. Because with Codex, you don't have to be a technical person to write code or understand it. The interesting thing though is that Codex is not meant for only code. It is actually your whole agent system, which means that given what permissions you allow, it can perform almost any task in your computer on your behalf. That's right, people, Jarvis is reality now. So I installed the Codex app on my computer and spent a day with it. And now I'm going to walk you through the Codex desktop app. What we are going to focus on today is how to install Codex, its interface, and how you can actually work with it. I will try my best to make this walkthrough as non-technical as possible so that everyone can easily follow it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now on to the first part of the video, installation of the Codex app itself. Now, before we get to installing the app, you must know that Codex itself is available to you in 4 different interfaces, you can say. There's the app, which is recommended by OpenAI itself. Then you have an IDE extension. Basically, people use it as an extension for Visual Studio. And you have the Codex CLI, which can be used in your terminal. And before the app, CLI was the most popular one. And then you can use it in your browser as well, which is the Codex web app. This video is all about the Codex desktop app. Now I already have the app installed on my computer, but if you want to install, you can just head over to openai.com/codex, and then you will land on this page. Once you land on this page, you can see this button right over here. It says download for macOS for me because I'm on a Mac. The app is also available on Windows, and you can click this button and then you will proceed to download the Codex app on your computer, just how you would install any other app in your desktop. Once you basically install the app, the next thing that you would be prompted to do would be either to use Codex without your ChatGPT connection and subscription or with it. Now, the thing about Codex is that it basically connects to your ChatGPT subscription, to your OpenAI plan. I'd recommend that if you are starting out as an occasional vibe coder, or maybe you want to experiment with the tool itself, then maybe start with the ChatGPT $20 per month subscription because it gives you decent rate limits. There are other ChatGPT plans, as you can see. There's the free plan, there's the Go plan, there's a Plus plan that I just talked about, there's a Pro plan which is $100 a month, and then you can use API keys. So basically, it won't be attached to any paid subscription. You will only pay for the tokens that the Codex will use based on your usage, and it will be based on API pricing. Now you can just start for free and explore Codex and see how good of a tool it is. You can do that, but of course you will hit your limits quickly, and you might want to upgrade then. All right, once you have installed the Codex app, you will see this interface on your computer. Don't worry if your interface is a bit lighter. Mine is darker because I changed its appearance. I will show you in a minute how you can do that as well. But if you've already used ChatGPT, you might notice that it's kind of a familiar interface. You have a chat area on the sidebar. You have a few options to control the tool. So let's start from this area that you see here, a simple chat area. Here is where the magic happens. You prompt the tool, you prompt your model, your OpenAI model. The latest one is 5.5, and you can see in this drop down that you can basically choose your model of choice. Now, if I go to this option, which says GPT 5.5, you can see that I can go down this route and basically choose from all of these 5 options. There's 5.2, 5.3 Codex, 5.4 Mini, 5.4, 5.5. 5.5 is the latest frontier model, which I recommend you should use if you are watching this when 5.5 is the latest model, of course. Then you can also choose the speed at which your model gives you the output. You have the standard speed, which is like default speed, and it basically performs on your normal usage. And then you have fast, which will basically consume more of your usage if you will hit your limits faster, but it is 1.5 times faster than your standard speed. And then you can also control the intelligence of your model, which ranges from low to extra high. For example, if you are maybe adding a little arrow inside your design or something, you can just set it to low and it will basically do the job. But if you are doing some complex mathematical problem or doing some complex programming, you might want to set it to extra high. But for most of the tasks, you should keep it at a medium or a high because it will perform very good in these ranges as well. Now, that's all for the model selection and the speed and intelligence selection. Then on the right-hand side, you can see there's the dictate option. Now, you can click here and allow the microphone usage, and then I can basically dictate what I want Codex to do, and it will basically write it all in this chat area. It's basically took it as a prompt. You can see exactly, you can describe the outcome in plain language here, and I can turn it into concrete word. Let's reverse this. Okay, so on the left side of this, you can see there is this drop down, which has 3 options: default, permissions, auto review, and full access. Now, if you remember in the start of the video, I said that this platform, this tool, this desktop app is not only for coding. It is basically your agent. It is basically your assistant, and it can perform any task you tell it to if it is on your computer. Now, based on these permissions, it will perform at the extent to which you allow it, right? Now, at default permissions, if you basically tell it to go to a certain app or a certain website on your computer, or maybe control a browser function or whatever, it will keep asking you at every step about each action it will perform. So that's default permissions. Auto review is something new that OpenAI has added. You can see on the right side, it basically tells you what it does. Codex runs commands in a sandbox and uses auto review for elevated requests. That means that the stuff that it can basically perform inside its own sandbox, meaning its own environment inside the app itself, it will do that. But if it needs access outside to anything, it will ask you for permission. And then full access is where it is risky, but your assistant, your Codex, won't ask you for any permission to do anything. It will just do the task that you want it to do. It basically has like full access to your computer, inside and out. So these are the 3 options. Now, selecting in between these 3 options will depend on your usage. If you want to basically be hardcore and be deep into agentic coding, you might want to give it full access to your computer so that you can just delegate tasks to it and it will do anything you want it to do, right? Default permissions is like you're sitting with your assistant and overseeing the work and you're allowing stuff, and auto review is in between that, and it's basically not as loose as full access, is not as restricted as default permissions itself as well. So it will really depend on your usage as you use Codex in your life. On the left of that, you can see the add sign. You can basically add photos and files or give reference with multimedia to Codex for anything you want to build, anything you want analyze, anything you want generated, just like you would do in the ChatGPT app. Then you have something that is called plan mode. Now, plan mode is when you, before building anything, maybe let's say an app, you basically plan the steps out in the order of executions. So you talk to your model, you talk to Codex, and it will basically generate a whole plan for your product or whatever you're building. Then you have something which is called plugins. We will get to it in a minute. And then under all that, you have this option: work in a project, start from scratch, use an existing folder. This option is in the ChatGPT app as well. In Codex, you can manage different projects, right? Maybe you're building multiple stuff at once. So that means that one chat that you start in a particular project won't bleed into another project or won't affect another project. So everything can stay inside a project. It will just be a separate file that will pop up on your sidebar, and you can just start your chat in that project and do your work. Or you can use an existing folder. That means maybe you already have a code file stored on your computer and you want to work on that. You can just basically connect it to that code file, and Codex will write code inside that file. So that's basically all this area covered. Let's talk about the sidebar, ranging from this new chat option to down to the settings. New chat basically starts a new chat. You can start a new chat in the project or separately. Search means search for any chat. Plugins. Now, plugins. What are plugins? Let's click on this option. Plugins you can think of as applications on your phone, right? When you install apps on your phone, your apps basically enable you to do advanced stuff with your phone that you would not have been able to do before you install the app. Just like that, plugins are something that you basically install in Codex and give Codex advanced capabilities. For example, the strongest plugin here is computer use, and I've connected it. Let's click on this. So computer use plugin basically gives the Codex the capability of using your computer on its own. So it will basically have your cursor in control. It will see your screen, do actions on your behalf. You can see some of these options that OpenAI gives you. Computer play a playlist to help me log in, stuff like that. Maybe it will go to Spotify or your Apple Music and play a playlist like that. Then you have all kinds of plugins here that OpenAI has built itself. And what you can also do is create plugin yourself. Now, as I clicked on this option, it basically led me to another chat where I'm basically asking Codex to help me create a plugin with a certain skill plugin creator. We will get to skill in a second, but you can see that you can give Codex advanced capabilities through code even if you don't know how to code. You can basically ask Codex to help you create a plugin, maybe for an app, maybe for an external service that you want connection to, and it will basically help you connect that service to Codex. So these are plugins. I haven't connected many plugins yet. I've connected the Codex plugin right now to write and read documents for me, to organize stuff. I will show you a very interesting use case for Notion in a little while. But yeah, these are plugins, advanced capabilities for Codex. And let's head over to automations. Automation is exactly what it says. You can set some automations for your agent to do when you are not sitting with it, when you do not have your app open. So automations can be of any type, meaning that if you're working in a code file, then you can maybe run a daily code review and stuff like that. For example, if I head over to this new automation, I see this pop-up appear, right? Here I can just write in natural language what I want Codex to do, add some frequency, and it will basically just do it. Right now, let's get familiar with this interface. You have this text area where you can basically natural language tell Codex what to do when, then you have this option of running the automation. So that automation that you said can run locally on your computer, right? It runs directly in the selected project directly without creating a work tree, or it can run in a work tree. So a work tree is a separate working folder connected to the same Git repository. Now, if you don't know what Git is and if you don't know what repository is, don't worry, we will explore that in the future if need be. But work tree you can imagine as a separate branch or a separate file that connects to your main project but doesn't interfere with other processes that are happening inside the project. So a branch would be an alternate timeline of your code, and a work tree would be the folder that would hold that timeline. And then an automation can also run in a specific chat which would not be connected to any project. You can select the project that it has to be connected to and the frequency at which the automation has to happen. And then you can basically select the model that Codex would use to run this automation and the intelligence level as well. And if you already have a template, or if you want to use an OpenAI's template, you can also use that for an automation. And then you have the project option. Of course, you can start a project from scratch or use an existing folder, as I've already told you. Then you have the settings right over here. You would see this interface. Okay, here you can see a bunch of tabs. Let's go through these one by one. I will give you short summaries for each of these, being as non-technical as possible. So the first tab is general. Here you can just control your basic app behavior. So you can choose what kind of work you would do for coding, for everyday work. And these are fairly simple, straightforward options. Then you have appearance. So this is for your visual personalization. You can select your accent colors, background colors, foreground colors, how your chat appears, what font size you want, how it looks, stuff like that. Another very cool thing here, you can have a Codex pet. That means that while working, you can keep a Codex pet around. That'll basically give you moral support while you code and build stuff. Okay, then you have your configuration. Now here you can configure shared behavior for Codex agent across all your platforms like your app, CLI, IDE extension, whatever. Now here you can configure the behavior of Codex itself if you are an advanced user through the config.toml file. If you don't know about this, it basically tells Codex how it should behave by default, which model to use, how much freedom it has, when it should ask permission, what tools, servers it can access, and which experimental features are enabled. So advanced users can customize the experience through this file, but we won't get into it right now. That's configuration. Then you have personalization. Now here you can give custom instructions to your Codex, basically how it should behave as a chat bot or as like your assistant. So you can choose personality for Codex, whether it's friendly or pragmatic, and give custom instructions. This stuff is in the ChatGPT app as well. Then also you can enable memories. That means in between chats, it can cross-reference stuff depending on what you have talked to it in the past, and other stuff here as well. So this is personalization. Then you have MCP servers. Now through MCPs, you can connect external tools and data sources. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. It is like a standard way for an AI agent to connect to external tools, data, and systems. So the agent talks MCP. The MCP server talks to the external service or API, and that's how Codex can be connected to external sources. Then you have hooks. Hooks are basically scripts that run automatically during Codex's lifecycle. Hooks are like an extensibility framework that injects your own scripts into the agent loop. Now, for most users, and if you're starting out especially, leave hooks alone unless you know exactly what script you want to run. Bad hooks can break Codex or cause annoying repeated warnings. Then you have a Git. Now, this controls how Codex interacts with Git. Now, if you're already familiar with Git, these setting options will be quite obvious to you. But if you're not familiar with Git, let me give you like an idea of the whole Git system. If you're unfamiliar with Git, Git is like a history system. So Git basically tracks changes in your project. It remembers what changed, when it changed, who changed it, why it changed. So instead of manually saving folders, Git gives you like a proper history. So you can go back, compare versions, make branches, merge changes, and undo mistakes. And a Git repository is your project with Git tracking turned on. So it's basically like a separate place where your changes live. As you get deeper into coding or programming itself, you will know more and more about Git. But these Git settings basically let you standardize branch naming, choose what the Codex uses, force pushes, and set prompts for commit messages and pull request descriptions. Then you have environments. And environment tells Codex how to set up or run your project, especially when Codex creates a new work tree. Now, work trees, we've already talked about work trees a bit. This basically controls Codex's separate Git work folders. Tree is a real folder on your computer for a specific Git branch. And a branch itself is a separate version or timeline of your project, which has the specific changes and whatever occurred. So yeah, then you have browser settings. Here you can allow Codex to control your built-in browser, be it Safari, Chrome, whatever. You have the Chrome plugin as well now enabled in Codex, so Codex can control your Chrome as you allow it. Then you have computer use. Now computer use has a whole other tab, even though it is basically a plugin here. So again, we've already talked about computer use. If you enable this, you're basically giving Codex the permission to do stuff on your computer. And then you have archive chats, where if you archive a chat, they will appear here. Then usage. Now this is something important. And even if you're starting out with no technical knowledge, this is the first thing that you should know. Now, starting from the top, you see general usage limits. That means you have a 5-hour usage limit in a particular day, and then you have your weekly usage limit, depending on your plan, right? This is the limit you hit when you are actively using Codex a lot in one session, asking it to edit files, run commands, inspect code, use browser tools, etc., etc. Now, local Codex messages and cloud tasks share a 5-hour usage window, and then additional weekly limits may also apply. Now, this is your long-term bucket, right? Weekly usage limit. This means that for the whole week, I've used only 6% of my allowance. Now, this prevents you from using Codex heavily all week nonstop, even if your 5-hour limits keep resetting, right? And then you can see this credit option. It says 0 credit remaining. Use credit to send messages when you reach usage limits. Now, this means that your plan's included usage is used first, and after you hit plan limits, you can either upgrade your plan or use credits. So basically extra paid usage hours that you can directly get from OpenAI. Now, your usage not only depends on your subscription, but it also obviously depends on your usage and your model choice as well. GPT 5.5 obviously will use more of your limit, and conversely 5.4 mini, let's say, will use less. Now, I would encourage you to do your own research on rate limits, credits, tokens, etc., because they are a crucial part of agentic coding and AI models themselves. But a clean mental model for you is your tokens are your raw fuel. So it's the segments that your AI model breaks your prompts in, and credits are like paid or top-up fuel that you pay on top of your usage limits. And your 5-hour limit is your short-term fuel tank, your weekly limit is your long-term fuel tank, and your model choice affects your fuel burn rate. And a large output, the stuff that Codex gives you back, will also result in more fuel burned. So do remember that. And yeah, that's all for the settings of the app itself. Now, another important thing that I want to talk about is skills. You can find skills in the same tab as your plugins. Skills are packaged instructions for Codex to perform specific tasks in a specific manner. So they're not like human skills, they are basically reusable workflows. Now, if your plugin gives Codex advanced capabilities, skills gives Codex advanced instructions to perform a certain task. Now, if maybe you are designing something in Figma and you want Codex to connect to it, a very popular skill for that is the Figma skill. Okay, now if I click on the Figma skill, you can see that it connects it uses the Figma MCP server for Figma driven implementation. So there are already built-in skills, and you can also use skills made by other people. And there isn't really a marketplace for skills, but you can find skills online, maybe on X and other platforms. And if you want specific skills for your workflow, you can even create on skills. And you don't have to be an expert coder, an expert programmer or expert writer to make skills. You can literally just ask Codex to make a skill for you for your specific workflow. So just to describe your requirements in natural language, and you can get a skill made for your specific workflow by Codex itself. So it will basically teach itself how to do your specific task, and it will be reusable. So just like how you could make plugins in natural language with Codex itself before, you can do the same with skills. Now I want to show you how you can work with Codex. I'm deliberately not going to get anything related to code in this video because I'm trying to be as non-technical as possible. We will explore code a lot in the future videos, but right now I want to basically show you the agentic capability of Codex, even in the smallest of tasks. So I was listening to the Tetramagatron with Rick Rubin podcast featuring Andrew Huberman, and I really liked the information that Dr. Huberman was sharing. And normally what I do with informational podcasts is I listen once and then maybe scan through the transcripts to note down important information in Apple Notes or Notion or whatever, and maybe revise as time passes. So I was thinking that maybe I could get Codex to do this task for me in an even better way, in even much more detail. So let's do it live right now. So I'll start a new chat with Codex. I'll keep it on default permissions, and I will keep it on 5.5 medium. And remember that computer use is enabled. So I'm going to ask Codex to basically go through this podcast or its transcript from wherever that it can find and make a summary of all the important information that Dr. Huberman has shared, and then make a Notion page of it that I can read myself. And then I'm going to ask it to make a catchy X post from that summary and post it through my X account. Okay, so let us write the prompt for this task and send it to Codex and see what it does with it. But before that, I would want it to use the Notion plugin. So I'm gonna write @Notion, the @ key is basically to call the plugin, and you can see the Notion plugin appears. I'm gonna click the Notion plugin and I'm gonna write the prompt. This is the prompt that I've written, and I'm gonna send it to Codex and see what it does with it. Update. So in between, it was trying to basically nest the page inside another database, and I told it to make a separate page, and it steered conversation into another direction. And what it did was simply make a separate page inside my Notion workspace for the summary as I told it to, with the computer use plugin enabled plus the Notion plugin that I use as well. So let's click this. So it leads to a whole Notion page inside my workspace with the podcast title, even the runtime, executive summary, main themes, everything that Dr. Andrew Huberman talked about on the podcast A to Z in extreme detail. Even the sources are listed. And I touched nothing. I just asked it to do this stuff. And normally what I would be doing is going through transcript myself, noting everything down one by one, and a lot of time would be used. And I just gave this task to this agent and it made it happen. Now let's try another thing. Let us ask Codex to make a catchy X post for this podcast and post it on my X account. So let's ask it. I'm gonna write the prompt for it. So I've written this prompt and I gave it to Codex. Let's see what it does with it. Now you can see it is asking me to allow Codex to use Safari because it is an elevated risk. Giving Codex the permission to use a browser can be risky, but in this case I might allow, just for the sake of this video, just to give you all some value. So the thing is, I'm already logged into my X account on Safari, So it should be easy for Codex to do it. Okay, so Codex is saying that the post is drafted and is ready in Safari, and all it needs is my approval to post it. But let's actually head to X ourselves and see how it drafted the post. Okay, wow. I can see the post is already drafted on top here. It actually kind of super compressed the summary and made a very short post. And it's kind of my fault. I didn't ask it to make a detailed post or a thread. Otherwise, it would have included all the details from the transcript. But the point of the matter is, it actually did what I had asked it to do. It fetched the transcript from somewhere. It made a summary for the transcript and made a separate Notion page for it. Took that summary, made an X post of it, and was even ready to post it. And all of this happened while I was just sitting here, and I didn't do any of those actions that Codex was doing behind the scenes. And this is the power of Codex living on your computer that I wanted to demonstrate. There you go. Now you know everything you need to know in order to get started with the Codex desktop app. Each interface element, each setting, and its amazing agentic capabilities. I think Codex is an amazing tool for everything. And if you learned anything of value from this video, kindly like the video. And if you have any feedbacks or thoughts to share, do that in the comments down below. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, you can do that through my X account, the link for which I will leave down in the description below. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Take care.